What is up, everyone, and welcome to the annual tradition of Vidya's favorite games of the year, 2021 edition. As the title suggests, it is my annual video where I talk about the games I played this year, well, at least the ones I enjoyed. We don't bring any negativity to this video, alright? Save that for other places. Though I will mention right off the bat, this video is going to be a bit shorter than any of the others I've made in the past, just because I didn't play a whole lot this year, quite honestly. For like 5 months, from like early May to late September, I was replaying a lot of games, just games I'd already played in the past, so, my list of games I've played for the first time just weren't that big this year, But regardless, I'm still gonna make this video with the list that I do have, which I have over here. So if you see me, constantly looking to the left here, it's because that's where my fucking list is at. But before I jump into the list, there are some games I want to mention first and foremost, just because these games are technically could be considered 2021 releases, but at the same time they could also not be considered 2021 releases. So I just want to talk about them right off the bat. If you consider them 2021 or not, that's up to you, but these are games that I enjoyed, so I want to give them, props that they deserve. First game on this list, Project MIKHAIL. If you're a Muv-Luv fan, you might have heard of it. If you're not a Muv-Luv fan, you probably know nothing about it, and that's totally fine, because you shouldn't know anything about it if you're not a Muv-Luv fan. But for those of you who don't know, Project MIKHAIL is a spin-off of the Muv-Luv franchise, where instead of being, your typical visual novel that the Muv-Luv series is known for, it's an action game where you jump behind the cockpit of a TSF and you get to fight off beta yourselves. And the reason why, I consider it not so much a 2021 release, because while it was released this year, it is currently in early access, so the actual final version of the game is not out, and it is very much an early access game, make no mistake. It still has a ways to go, but honestly, from what I've played so far of it, I see a lot of potential in this game, I really do. I've had a lot of fun with it, I really have. I know a lot of people picked up the game and they weren't very pleased with the controls of it. I actually managed to find a playstyle for me that works really well with the original controls. Since then, they've released a patch for the game that has updated the controls, which has kinda nerfed my playstyle a bit. It's still fun. I actually just jumped behind it and played a little bit of it earlier today, just to, make sure that I still enjoyed it after their patch. But yeah, it's still a lot of fun, and I'm glad that they're, improving the game so that more and more people will be able to enjoy it, because it is still a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It's got 3 different modes to it. There's story mode, frontier mode is what they call it, and PvP. Story mode, you essentially play through the main story of Muv-Luv Alternative, starting with the training arc that picks up, that is kind of technically the tail end of Unlimited, but also kind of the beginning of Alternative, and you just play it from there. I haven't quite finished this one yet though, and it's not quite the same as Alternative. There are some twists here and there that I won't spoil. You can play it for yourself if you want to find out. But if you've played Alternative, you essentially know the gist of how the story will play out. And I haven't quite finished the game yet, so I don't know entirely how it all ends, but like I said, I've played Alternative for myself, so I have a pretty good idea. Then Frontier mode is kind of like an online mode, but kind of not. You and other players online essentially do various missions throughout, the area of Japan, defending certain bases here and there, and you can get your reputation up with other alliances. Like there's the UN faction, then there's the US, and then there's just the nation of Japan. There's all these various factions, and then there's also various characters from the main series you can build up your reputation with as well by doing these missions. It's interesting, and it's something to do after you finish the story mode. And then of course there's PvP. It's I believe it's 5-on-5, where you're given the choice of selecting between any of the main squad from the main story. So you can play as Takeda, you can play as Ayamine, Chizuru, Miki, Mikoto, Maya, any of the main cast you can play as. They have different, and it's essentially like different presets for various TSF styles and whatnot. I'm not the biggest PvP fan, but mainly that's because I just get my ass kicked. But listen, not to toot my own horn, I'm pretty damn good when it comes to kicking some beta ass, though. I'm just saying. Alright, but keeping in line with the whole Muv-Luv vein, the next game on this list of games that are 2021 but aren't 2021 is going to be Muv-Luv Unlimited the day after. The Western localization for it came out this year in 2021 in February. However, the original games themselves are nearly a decade old in some cases, so it's definitely not a 2021 release, but at the same time it technically kind of is. Muv-Luv Unlimited the day after is a fucking phenomenal story. If you're a Muv-Luv fan who hasn't checked out the day after, I highly recommend it. It is fucking great. It has a pretty steep price point, at least here in the US it does. I can't speak on other nations' exchange rates and all that shit, but I can say if you're in the US, paying $90 for a roughly 30 to 40 hour visual novel is it's rough, and I've definitely had my say on the price point, but I'd say if you can catch it on sale at all, it is more than worth it. Hell, I'd argue if you're a big enough fan, it's almost worth it at full price. It's a damn good story, and I'm very much looking forward to the follow-up in Resonative. And then the last game on this list of 2021, but not 2021, is Mass Effect Legendary Edition. For those of you who don't know, Mass Effect is my favorite video game franchise of all time. It's my favorite story of all time, quite honestly. It's my favorite story told across any fucking medium. There is no TV show, no movie, no book out there that has topped this story. There's no story that has hit me as much as the Mass Effect story does and continues to do. I love these games so fucking much. The Legendary Edition was my 14th playthrough through this fucking trilogy. I love these games. I can't say enough how much I love these games. This game is part of like that 5-month, replay period I was in, was playing through these games again now that we have the Legendary Edition. So what about the Legendary Edition specifically? I can hype up the games all I want. What were the changes there? For one, with the first game, it greatly improved the look and feel of the game. The controls are a lot better. Well, okay, I won't say a lot better, because the original first game wasn't bad, but the controls are definitely better, and it looks great. It still has that older vibe to it, like you can tell it's definitely an older game, but the changes they made to it looks great compared to the original. It really does. And then with 2 and 3, there wasn't a whole lot of changes made there, but honestly, they didn't need to make a whole lot of changes there. Those games still really look great to this day. The originals do. But, like I said, this game was, for 2 and 3, it was mostly just graphic updates, so things do look a bit better. I will say, the cutscenes in 2 and 3, fucking gorgeous. Gorgeous. Before they looked good, they are fucking gorgeous. When I was replaying this over on Twitch, oh my god, I had to comment every time there was a cutscene, just like, bro, this shit, beautiful. I can't say enough. So if you're a Mass Effect fan who already has the games, it's kind of a 50-50 whether or not you should buy it or not, because if you already own all the games, you already own all the DLCs, it's up to you, really. It depends on how much you enjoyed the first game, and if the changes made to it are really excite you that much, and if you would really enjoy the graphic updates to 2 and 3. If you haven't played the Mass Effect trilogy, this is the best place to go for it. This is the best right here. You're gonna get the best out of this experience right here. By all means, pick this up. Like I said, my favorite games of all time. Can't hype them up enough. I loved it. But with those out of the way, it's time to jump into the games of 2021 that I actually did play. Now, starting off this list are actually games I haven't finished yet. I've played them, and I've dumped a good amount of hours into them, but I haven't finished them yet, so I don't quite So they're lower on the list mainly because I haven't finished them. I don't know how the whole game is. I don't know how the game is as a whole, so I don't feel right putting them any higher. So starting off this list at, wait, how many are there? There's 6, okay. Starting off this list at number 6 is Moonglow Bay. This is a game I first heard about during E3 of this year, and it really caught my eye because it's a game that centers around fishing, being a fisherman, and the whole vibe of it felt really cool when I first saw it. Like, it heavily reminded me of like the fishing minigame in Stardew Valley, which I absolutely love. I love Stardew Valley, first of all, but the fishing minigame in particular. Like, listen, Stardew Valley is a farming sim, and I fish more than I farm, alright? I'm fishing constantly. That's my main source of income. That's where Daddy gets his cash. So when they said, hey, here's a game that's like based around fishing, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. And the art style is really cool. It also has like the main character is also a chef, and a lot of your money doesn't come from selling the fish, it comes from selling meals that you make out of said fish, which is a cool aspect to it. So essentially you get like this fishing minigame added on with like these little like Cooking Mama-esque QTEs, where it's like slice up the ingredients, boil the ingredients, fucking bake the ingredients, all these different things you do in the kitchen to help prepare these meals. And honestly, it's really fucking cool. As someone who is a fan of those kind of mini games, it's honestly a lot of fun. But it's not just that, there's also an actual overall story to it, which I haven't finished. I'm only in like chapter 3. But so far I've really been enjoying it. I don't want to spoil the story too much, and unfortunately there's like a really big spoiler like within the first chapter that I don't feel right talking about straight off the bat. But also you can't really talk about the rest of the game without talking about that first major spoiler. But there is like a whole town to it, like with Stardew Valley. There's like a whole town, there's several different citizens, and like every citizen has like a favorite food, and if you make them their certain food, then you'll better your relationship with that person, you learn more about them, and in certain cases you also learn more about the main character, and you also learn more about the history of the town and whatnot. And it's really cool. There's an aquarium similar to like the aquariums in Animal Crossing, where you collect the fish, take them to the aquarium, and then they're like put on display in the various tanks and whatnot. And it's cool just walking into the aquarium and seeing all the shit you've brought in. It's dope. This game is just a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying it. I'm definitely looking forward to finishing it. Next up on this list at number 5 is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Once again, haven't quite finished it yet, but it's Pokemon. I typically enjoy Pokemon. There's yet to be a Pokemon game that I truly did not enjoy. I know nowadays there's a lot of Pokemon fans who really like to complain about shit. I've yet to play a Pokemon game that I didn't, walk away from enjoying, alright? I've played Gens 1 through 3, and I've played Gens 6 through 8, alright? I missed out on 4 and 5, which is a big reason as to why I was excited to play Brilliant Diamond, just because, like I said, I missed out on Gen 4. I didn't get a chance to play Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum, so I was really looking forward to this, really looking forward to playing it, and so far I've been having a blast. I've beaten the first 3 gym leaders thus far, and like I said, been enjoying the hell out of it. It's fun. They haven't really... They didn't bring in like any extra features that any of the later games have included. There's no Mega Evolutions, there's no Gigantamaxing, there's no Z moves, there's none of that. It's very much that era of Pokemon just brought to a new art style. And I know a lot of people were complaining about that when it was first announced. I think it's great. I think it really fits Pokemon, and I think it works really well. I really like it. I have no problem looking at this game. I think it looks great. But yeah, like I said, been really enjoying it. Very much looking forward to finishing it. Highly recommend. Now, the next 2 games on this list, they're technically not games you can... Well, I mean, they have story modes, so I guess you can finish them. But they're not games that you start, you finish, and you're done with. That's because they're both fighting games. I don't know why the fucking big build up. But coming in at number 4 is Melty Blood type Lumina. Now listen, I don't know shit about Tsukihime. I know that's the game that most of these characters are based off of. The one guest character is Saber, but guess what? I haven't read Fate either, so I don't fucking know anything about her either. But what I can tell you is that this game is pretty fun. Alright? I wasn't originally drawn to it that much, but my buddy plays fighting games, who I occasionally play fighting games with. I tweeted out one day, I'm like, I've seen some people enjoying it, but is it really worth it? And that homie was like, nah dude, it's fun, you should definitely hop on it. So I'm like, alright, if the guy I play fighting games with is saying, hey, hop on it, I guess I should. And sure enough, it was fun. I don't think it's anything amazing, anything insanely good that like, the masses should absolutely hop on, but it's fun. It is fun. If you're interested in it, it's absolutely fun. I think there's better fighting games out there, don't get me wrong, but it's fun. I've been enjoying it. Kahaku mains, what's up? But yeah, that's really all I gotta say about that one. It's fun. Like I said, it's not a 10 out of 10 amazing experience, but like I said, fun. Coming in at number 3, like I said, yet another fighting game, and that is Guilty Gear Strive. This one, alright, I've had a lot of fun with. Now, I don't know shit about Guilty Gear. I haven't played any previous Guilty Gear games. I don't know the lore behind it. I don't know the significance of any of these characters, but what I can tell you is that the game itself is fun. What originally drew me to Guilty Gear was the design of the characters. Like I said, I don't know anything about the characters themselves, their backstories or anything, but what really drew me to it was the look of the characters and the actual, look of the game itself. It's developed by ArcSys, which is the same devs that made Dragon Ball FighterZ, which, that's like the one fighting game friends out there I actually know the backstory to. But yeah, I greatly enjoyed FighterZ. I still play it to this day, so I saw these characters with these dope designs, and I've seen a lot of people talking about it online. I said, fuck it, I'm gonna give it a chance myself. And this is also the first fighting game I started playing with that friend I mentioned earlier, and oh my god, I've had so much fun with this. This one isn't just fun, it's a fucking great time. It is one I have dumped hours and hours and hours into. I fucking love it. So much fun. Eno mains, what's up? Just thinking about it, it puts a smile on my face. It's definitely one I keep coming back to. Sometimes there's games like these that you play for a little bit and you kind of fall off with them, and maybe you'll come back to them later, but this is one I consistently come back to, and I'm, like I said, really been enjoying it. The hype isn't dying down. I'm very much looking forward to Biken releasing early next year. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna keep being fun. I love this game. I love this game. It's great. Now there's only 2 more games left on this list, and these are actual games with like that focus on the story. The story is a big part of it. Fighting games, there's usually a story there, but you're not there for the story. You're there to beat some ass. Now, this next game, coming in at the number 2 spot, technically was a 2020 release, but it was a December 2020 release. If you know anything about these about award shows and shit, you'd know that they count December releases as part of the current year, same way that December of 21 will be considered for 2022. That's just how this shit works. Also, the Game Awards did the same thing in including this game, so you know what? I feel like I'm well within my rights to include this game. Now, a lot of people didn't like this game when it first dropped. Talked mad shit on it. So some people might be surprised to know that I think it's a damn good game. One of the better ones out there. I mean that. Coming in at number 2, Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, I said it. It was a fucking great game. Yeah, is. It's still a fucking great game. I played this game like a month after it released, so it was still far from where it is nowadays. And I had a lot of fun with it. Were there still glitches and bugs throughout the game? Oh, abundant. But did I have fun with it? Oh, you bet your sweet fucking ass I had fun with it. So much fucking fun with it. Oh my god, like, I know I keep saying fun, I keep describing everything as fun, but that's like the key component in, what makes me like a game. It's gotta be fun. And Jesus Christ, and it's more than just fun, alright? The gameplay, I greatly enjoyed it. What I love about it is, Cyberpunk is a first-person shooter, and, if you check my VODs, my playthrough of it was almost entirely melee. I got the Manus Blades upgrades, and that was it. It was game over. I'm chopping motherfuckers up left and right. That's the only way I'm doing it. And let me tell you, every single time it was fun. A lot of people complain about the side quests. They say the side quest type missions, they're too repetitive. It's just the same thing, You go in, kill people. Go in, kill a group of people. They just slap a different, story reason on it for whatever thing for each different side quest. But let me tell you, if you're enjoying the gameplay, that kind of shit doesn't matter all that much, alright? They say, oh, here's the story for this quest, alright? Here's your reason to go take out this group of people. And it could be the same thing for the next 3 or 4 quests. And I'll say, hell yeah, I get to go in and fuck up some people, let's go. Let's fucking go. They're like, you can go in stealthy, or you can go in guns blazing, it'll be a bit more difficult. And I'm like, oh, I get to go in sword swinging, let's fucking go. That's the thing. I was always excited to play more of it. There was never a point where I was playing Cyberpunk where I was like, ah, man, I have to play more Cyberpunk today? Fuck. Nah. Every time I'm jumping in that shit like, fuck yeah, more Cyberpunk today, let's fucking go, yes! I mean, fuck. Like, what was it? I think there was one day I played like fucking 12 hours of it. I think. Maybe not. Maybe? I know there was definitely one where I played for at least 10 or so. I think the final one was a bit long. Regardless, I sat down, I started playing, and I kept playing. I couldn't stop playing. Alright? I was fucking so into it. God damn it. I can't tell you enough how much I fucking loved Cyberpunk, and they've only continued to improve the game since its release over this last year, and I think it's more than worth the price of admission nowadays. If you want to take the jump and pay full price for it, I personally will say it's worth it. If you see it on sale, I say it's more than worth it. Definitely give it a shot if your PC can run it. It is a bit of a demanding game. I remember when I first tried to stream, I actually had to turn fucking my graphics and shit down on it because it's very demanding. My PC can run it normally, but I'm trying to stream at the same time. It really fucks with the stream. But yeah, long story short, I think it's a great game. I think it definitely had a rough launch, and it definitely had some scuff to it, and there were definitely reasons to criticize it, but I think it's only continued to improve from where it was, and I think it's a great game that more people should give a chance to. Alright, and before we talk about the #1 game, the GOTY, the GOTY game of the year, my favorite, it's time for honorable mentions. Honorable mentions is where I talk about the games that weren't released in 2021 that I played for the first time in 2021. Now, like I said, I spent like 5 months replaying older games I had already played before. So, honorable mentions, it's short this year. There are only 2 games in the honorable mentions, so I'm not going to do a little slideshow and be like just announcing the game, giving them a little time to shine. I'll just talk about them normally, alright? The first game, Yakuza Like a Dragon. I'm a big fan of the Yakuza series. I spent the entirety of 2021 playing through the series. It is so much fun. I love it. And Like a Dragon is a good game. I don't agree with the people saying it's the best in the franchise, but it's definitely a good one. It's definitely a great time. Phenomenal story, amazing characters, as usual. Soundtrack bangs. RGG never misses with the soundtracks. And the second game on the honorable mentions is one I just started about a week ago or so, but so far it's just been a great time and it's only gotten better, and that's Hollow Knight. Alright, this is a game that receives a lot of love. I've seen a lot of love for it on the timeline from friends and others, but so I decided to finally crack down and play it myself this year, and it's been so much fun. It is a lot of fun. Really been enjoying it. So yeah, highly recommend. And now, it is time for Vidya's GOTY, the GOTY, the game of the year. And coincidentally enough, my 2021 game of the year is actually the sequel to my 2019 game of the year. That's right, my game of the year is Lost Judgment. Bro, this fucking game, let me tell you, in 2019, like I said, Judgment came out of nowhere, alright? I didn't even know Judgment was like a spin-off of the Yakuza series. I had heard people talk about Judgment, alright? It's a game where you play as a private detective who also kicks some ass. And I'm thinking, okay, interesting. I saw a trailer for it and I decided to cop it. I played it. Judgment, like I said, game of the year 2019, became one of my favorites. It sat in my top 5 until this year, alright? Because this year we got the sequel. The sequel, many thought like potential sequel. There was never any confirmation for a sequel, you know? Like there was no cliffhanger ending to Judgment that made us think, oh, a sequel's definitely coming. There was no, certainty in whether or not there was a sequel. There was just hope for a sequel. And let me tell you, ever since they announced it this year, I haven't shut the fuck up about it. I was doing a countdown thread on it on Twitter fucking every day, like, bro, 100 days to Lost Judgment, 99 days to Lost Judgment, bro, 98 days to Lost Judgment. I was so excited, so fucking excited. And then the game got here, and let me tell you, it surpassed any and all expectations, alright? I went into it, a little worried, because like I said, Judgment has been one of my favorites for 2 years now. I love this game. I love it. It's set up in the top 5, alright? I love that game. So, part of me was worried going to Lost Judgment. I'm like, is it going to be able to meet the hype of the first game? Is it going to meet the expectations I have going into it? Exceeded all of them. It was such a phenomenal fucking game. The story is amazing, alright? The main story of it all is just, so well done, alright? It deals with some sensitive topics, and I think it handles them quite well, and it is, a very, very hard-hitting story at times, too. It's just, but, so good. I'm not really going into much details because I try to avoid spoilers as best as I can. The characters. Once again, this is a game I'm going to have to dance around spoilers for. The cast on this game. The returning characters, my favorites. I love them. You got Yagami, you got Kaito, you got Sugiura, my boy. You got Higashi, alright? The favorites. You got Sari. She's coming back. You got Hoshino, you got Genda. The squad is there, alright? Your favorites are there, and you love to see it. But there's also a great cast of There's also a great cast of new characters as well. And I'd go into more detail why I love some of these new characters, but like I said, spoilers. But let me just say one character in particular. There's one character in particular. I won't name them, alright? But this character has easily become one of my favorite antagonists in any medium. Games, movies, books, shows, what have you. One of my absolute favorite antagonists. Love this character to death. Mainly because he's such a morally gray character. At times I don't know whether to consider him like a villain who with good intentions or just like one of the most gray anti-heroes out there. Like, I love this character so much. That's all I can say without going into all these details as to why I love them. They're so good. But story, characters aside, the gameplay, the combat was improved. I greatly enjoyed the combat from Judgment, and they made it better. They gave us a third fighting style that fucking is actually significantly different from the first two, and feels like it has a role there. It wasn't just like they threw us a third fighting style. It's like, this one, kind of similar to. No, it was its own unique thing. It felt really good. Each style still had their own unique feel to it, and they all had their own unique uses, and so good. Side stuff. You want to talk about side stuff? Bro. The amount of fucking side content in this game. Right off the top, there is, a little bit less, but almost just the same amount of side cases that Judgment had. Judgment had a solid 50. Lost Judgment has a little more than 40. It's like 43 or so. But there's a whole thing called school stories, alright? This whole fucking side story. Listen, if you've played Yakuza 5 or Yakuza 0, alright? If you're a Yakuza 5 fan, if you remember the side stories from Yakuza 5, Kiryu with the taxi cabs, Saejima with hunting, shit like that, The whole thing where there's just like this side story running alongside the main story, alright? Or like I said with Yakuza 0, if you remember the business side stories, with Kiryu running the real estate and Majima running the hostess club. These whole like storylines that play out that really have no connection to the main story, but it's just this entire story in and of itself. So where you're essentially getting like 2 whole ass stories out of this game. School Stories in Lost Judgment is that. It's this whole story that it branches off from the main story at one point and just becomes its whole own thing. Its whole thing. And the beauty of School Stories is also like there's plenty of callbacks within School Stories during like the main course of it to the original Judgment. There's a lot of callbacks to that. The whole game is full of plenty of callbacks to the first Judgment, and I love it. But the School Stories storyline is just, it's good. A bit predictable, I will say that. Eventually, I think like a quarter of the way through it, I kind of figured out what the big reveal was. Kind of had an idea of how it was going to play out. But, like I always say, predictable isn't bad. It played out how I expected it to, but it did it very well. And just, And if we're talking mini games, bruh. I mean, shit, so many mini games just within, like I said, School Stories. The whole fucking storyline is just full of all these unique little mini games. Alright? Some of them better than others. Alright? There's one in particular. Good old Robotics Club. Alright? Listen. I know I talk mad shit on it. But the minigame itself was fun, alright? The main part I didn't like is grinding for materials and shit. But, if we want to talk about the good minigames, Dance Club? Bro, y'all ever heard of this thing called a rhythm game? Shit's pretty fun, yo. But hey, I mentioned Yakuza 5 fans earlier. If you liked Haruka's section from Yakuza 5, bruh, Dance Club's for you. Because let me tell you something, I enjoyed Haruka's dance section from fucking Yakuza 5, which I've seen too many other people fucking shit on. Nah, it's good. It's fucking great. And let me tell you, Dance Club, even better, alright? You ever seen a private detective work kung fu into their dance routine? You will, alright? Oh, and one more thing. I mentioned it with Like a Dragon, but best believe Lost Judgment fucking fits the bill as well. The soundtrack. RGG and their sound team never fucking misses with the soundtrack. Never. There are some Yakuza games out there that I'm not a fan of. Don't look at them too highly. I'm like, yeah, those two right there, not a fan of those. But I can tell you, those two I'm not a fan of, still have banger soundtracks. They have never, not once, ever missed on the soundtrack. And like I said, Lost Judgment continues to uphold that tradition. Phenomenal soundtrack. Phenomenal. You got some reoccurring tracks from the first game, but also plenty of new ones that just really get you in the fucking moment. Whether it's, this really, hard-hitting emotional moment, or this really amped up, fucking energetic, let's go kick some ass kind of moment. Like, you're feeling it. You're always fucking feeling it. And if we're talking about fucking sound and shit that gets you moving, the voice cast, alright? Listen, I know the vast majority of the Yakuza series is done, in Japanese. There's no English dub for it, but when I first played Judgment, I played it with the English dub, so I kind of had to play Lost Judgment with the English dub. It just wouldn't feel right. And I know it wouldn't, because I've seen clips of other people playing it with the, original Japanese dub, and it's not the same experience. I gotta have my English cast, but it's one of those instances where the English cast really comes through. A lot of times you get dubs that just don't hit as hard as the original, alright? You watch a dub, but then you find out about the original, and you go back and you watch the original, and you're like, yeah, nah, the original's so much better, but with Judgment, I gotta say, the English cast, fucking phenomenal. God, I love them so fucking much. And just, they did everything so fucking well. I have no complaints with any of the performance from the with the English cast. They did so fucking well. So fucking well. Like I said, like, nothing's perfect, alright? There are, if you wanted me to get real nitpicky about it, I could point out some flaws in the game, sure. But let me tell you, there's so much more I enjoyed, so much more I loved, absolutely loved about this game, that any of these minor details I could pick out here and there, they don't fucking matter. They don't fucking matter one goddamn bit. I've said it about so many other games, so let me say it right here. Lost Judgment, fun. So much fucking fun. Fun feels like just such an understatement. It really does. God, I love this game. Easily like a fucking major highlight of my year. Such a good fucking game. Such a good fucking game. But that is going to do it for this year's video game wrap up, whatever the hell you want to call this video. There were quite a few games that came out this year that I wanted to get to that I just didn't have the time for. Games like Deathloop, Life is Strange True Colors, Deltarune Chapter 2, Honey Pop 2 Double Date. That last one is not a joke. I really want to play that game. I just need to find the fucking time for it. But like I said, that's gonna do it for this year's video. What did you think of the list? Do you have any fucking complaints with what I had to say? Are there games you think I should have given a chance this year that should absolutely be up there? But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. That'd be cool. But yeah, like I said, gonna wrap this one up here for the year, and I will see you guys next year with whatever games I fucking play next year. Because, you know, I don't know if you're aware, but I play video games. I do that. It's kind of in the name. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this year. Peace.